tal amigos? You are watching LatiNation Football Club. I am your host Marcelino Ortiz, and today we have a banger of a show. That's right, we have a lot of football ahead of us. First, we're going to start with the Leagues Cup, this new tournament that faces MLS teams against Liga MX. And let me tell you, the results are pretty bad if you're an MLS fan, but that's not all. We're going to be talking about the women's game. That's right, we have the final of the Copa that had a very, very controversial result. And also, we're going to be previewing and looking ahead for the final, La Final de la Copa América Femenina, the other continental tournament that is being played this summer. And Camila Ortiz will break it all down. And finally, it is time for us to get ready and prepare for the next edition of the Champions League and the European tournaments that are about to begin. And that's why I'm here with Nik Z and Camila Ortiz, because we're going to break down not only those transfers down the road with Alex Crespo, but we got to get this show started. How are you guys?
Oh boy, well, as an LA Galaxy fan in general, I felt zero emotion. I'm a broken human. I've been that way for the last few months, so I feel great, actually. Not much has changed for me, but if we're looking bigger picture, league to league, it's a nice little wake-up call for the MLS, which is kind of in its own silo. We're so pumped about our own league. We think we're the top of the top. We're amazing. We're like the kid who's like behind his house, you know, hitting the ball up against his garage, and in his mind, he's like hitting headers in the top right corner, scoring goals. Everyone's cheering his name, but then he goes and he plays with the big kids and they run all over him. I feel like that's kind of like what the MLS is when it goes head to head against other leagues like MX, which is just stronger, has a longer pedigree behind it, and wake-up call.
A little bit, there was a case. I mean, we've seen in CONCACAF Champions League that the MLS team have some level of success, but in the first match day of this League Cup, that was not the case. And the one that hurts me the most is the LAFC blunder. Camila, you were there in the stadium. Talk to me, how was to be in a game where 10 penalty kicks were thrown and your star player misses the crucial one?
If I had to use two words to describe both the environment and the performance, disappointing and embarrassing. And I know that sounds harsh because their performance was just that, embarrassing and disappointing. I mean, listen, the team, the energy that they gave was cocky. It was too confident. You know, they were able to get that first goal against Mazatlán, but quickly after the next play, Mazatlán tied it up. And for the rest of the game after the tie, the team just looked intimidated, to be honest. I mean, Cherundolo didn't put his subs in till the 68th or 70th minute. You know, just then he started with a B-C team and just finally towards the end of the game put his 18 players. And it's like, what can you really expect these players to do with only 20, 30 minutes left in the game? So yeah.
It was a confirmation of my worst fears, is that LAFC is in a downtrend. They have not had a good result in the last 4 games, and now we are facing the possibility of having a tough time qualifying to this tournament, which gives you the qualification for CONCACAF Champions League, and that if you win, the upcoming Club World Cup. So this is an important tournament.
A bit of a flashback to the Club World Cup for you guys, right? And that's a scary moment. And I think it was a similar thing with Columbus Crew going up against Toluca. Well, look, Toluca, I think on another level compared to Mazatlán. Obviously, Toluca is like the best squad right now. I think one of the strongest squads right now in this tournament. So the same thing, though. I mean, they were up 2-0 at one point. There was this glimmer of hope for an MLS squad to go up a Mexican giant, but then they got too comfy. They got a little too big for their bridges, and what happened? Toluca came back, Paulinho saving the day, and they made it happen on penalties. So that's what happens.
A quick reminder, there's no losers on this group stage of the Leagues Cup. If you end up tied in regulation, they will go to penalty kicks, and they get 2 points for the team that wins the penalty kicks, 1 point for the team that loses. And who shows up and represents MLS? The only team that won in the first day of competition, Montreal, the Canadian team, probably the worst team of MLS, goes out and beats León, a historic team from Liga MX that has been champion twice in a row, back-to-back. They've been always a top contender. They were slated to be in the Club World Cup. They couldn't because of the multi-ownership. So this is a big team, and comes Montreal and just throws the script out. And this begs the question, is this good or bad for the MLS? Because we see that these games are being played in front of very little audiences, and that we might be risking our players to incur injuries that we don't want. Are we putting too much football on the table, or is that a sin to say?
I'm going to be honest. I think yes. I think we are risking these players. It was disappointing to see at the game on Wednesday, the 32-52, which is brings such big energy to, the LAFC stadium. not a lot of people. I think it's hurting the MLS. Not a lot of wins in this group stage. So therefore, not a lot of people are going to want to go support their teams, and overall bad, detrimental for the MLS.
I will make the argument for it because as a lifelong MLS fan, grew up here in LA watching my squad, the Galaxy. I'm very proud of that. I've always dreamed of the MLS becoming a world-class league. And this is the only way to do it, is to go up against other squads from other leagues, unfortunately, that are better than you. And it's going to suck if you're an MLS fan to see your team get their butt kicked. But if you want to be a world-class team and consider yourself up there, you got to go head-to-head with teams that are better than you. And this is kind of what it takes, these kinds of tournaments. So I think in most cases, overplaying footballers, not a good thing. For the MLS's sort of visions, bigger picture, it needs this kind of thing. MLS isn't like other leagues out there. It's doing a lot of things differently in order to grow and in order to make a name for itself. We're still at that point.
And not only that, right now there's this big debate and a big push for the MLS to change their calendar year to align with the rest of the European leagues. Right now, MLS unfortunately is considered a summer league. Now, let's talk about the upcoming games that are coming, and that's why I'm wearing this precious vintage original Pumas, because we are gonna face Miami. And I believe that Mis Pumitas, with Keylor Nava in the back as the new captain, the historic goalkeeper, Champions League winner, is going to be there, and we're going to defeat Miami. What are your predictions for that game, Gab?
Well, I first want to ask you, are you worried about DePaul joining Miami?
I was going to ask that too.
DePaul, yes, we're going to talk about this transfer later in the show, but DePaul, I hate to accept it, but this makes Miami one of the most dangerous teams because DePaul is just at a whole different level of any other player that has joined the league in these last few weeks.
Yeah, it goes kind of to my prediction. I hate to do this to you, to your face, Marce, but I really think Miami is gonna prevail here with Messi, DePaul, and kind of making up for those experienced players who are maybe a little bit slower these days, like Suarez. They're bringing fresh legs to the squad, and I think they're going to be pretty unstoppable, not just against Pumas, but in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to 100% agree. I think the reason these MLS teams are maybe falling a bit behind is because these Liga MX players, these teams, they have the experience. Like you said, they have the pedigree, and it's really showing. So hopefully Miami is able to step up to the plate and get another win for the MLS.
O sea, todos le van a Miami. Pumas, 2-1. I think we're going to get the result. Now, Galaxy is playing Cruz Azul. This is a big game, Nick. This is probably one of the games that mean the most for Galaxy because the level of Cruz Azul, if they beat them, might be that spark that the team needs to come back to the winning side.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you for calling Montreal the worst team in the league, so that made me feel good. Number two, yes, this is important for the Galaxy. I think this season, I hate to say it, pretty much mathematically impossible to make it to the playoffs, so this was kind of a wash, but we have seen in the last few games some signs of life. We didn't fare too badly against LAFC coming back there at the end, making miracles happen. Even before that, we played pretty well. We got some wins under our belt, and we show some signs of life. And so this tournament now is kind of for Galaxy, a team that's not even looking for the playoffs or looking for their domestic league. This is a time for us to shine and continue that momentum. We got to walk away from this year with some kind of trophy, with some sort of silverware, and this is our opportunity because the MLS Cup ain't happening against this year. But Cruz Azul, not an easy squad.
Let me tell you something, that might brighten your day because Ricky Puig has been registered to play in this tournament. We don't know if he will be ready for the group stage, but I think that Galaxy is looking ahead of a deep run on this tournament and getting him ready to really make a difference. And to round it up, Camila, Galaxy versus Xolos. Xolos, like you know, this team that is led by Gilberto Mora, the young Mexican player, and Galaxy that is struggling. What is your prediction?
Yeah, well, struggling to say the least. Sorry, Nick. I think that Gilberto Mora, again, he showed promise, was able to get that header goal in the MLS All-Stars game. So I think that it will be a tie. I think it's going to be a draw. And because, you know, they've played 3 games already. And I think that, you know, I'm actually going to give Galaxy the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say they're going to win in PKs.
Galaxy has an opportunity to shine on this tournament. LAFC has an opportunity to fire their coach. And you have an opportunity to be ready for the next segment of LatiNation Football Club because we'll be right back after this break.
if I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus you got some guys at utility. Plus you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and it is time to talk about women's football. That's right, la final de la Euro and Copa America Femenina are taking all the headlines, and that's why Camila Ortiz is going to break it all down. Nik Z is with us as well. Cami, what a final did we have? Spain, it was tough to see that they couldn't get it done, but England, the Lionesses, again, champions of the Euro, they seem to have it on lockdown this tournament, Nick.
Oh, for sure. I mean, going to that final match, it was a tale of two halves. Spain dominating in possession. I think it was 65 or 70% possession for the Spanish, and it was almost in the bag. And it just shows the mental strength of the English squad, who can come back and just do wonders. It's tough in penalties no matter what, but when you have an amazing keeper, Hannah Hampton, who's like stopping the most important goals from going in and under such tight pressure, that's going to help you. And then, you're just doing your job and finishing those amazing penalties. They made it happen.
Cami, there's a lot of controversy. Some people are not very happy about the style of play that England deployed throughout, the elimination games, if you will. They were wasting time, pulling every trick from the book. The Spanish players were deeply, deeply upset about this. Se vale, or is this playing dirty?
Se vale. In my opinion, this is what keeps soccer exciting. I don't think we can ask of these teams and these players to erase this style of play. I think it's just part of the game in and of itself. And to give some harsh criticism, to be honest, if you're better, you're better. There's not really a lot of room for argument. I think it was disappointing for this Spanish team. When you compare 22 shots that the Spanish team had to 8 of, the Lionesses, it just kind of speaks for itself. If you're complaining about them wasting time, then maybe you should have put a couple more of those 22 shots in the goal at the end of the day.
Ruthless. Cami, let's break down the game in the tactical aspect. What was lacking from the Spanish team, other than definition in the last third, that could have made the difference?
I think what was lacking from the Spanish team was patience. They were trying to get these shots off too quick, in my opinion, and that's why they weren't able to put them in the back of the net. I think also, when you compare the Lionesses, they're a scrappy team. We saw the quarterfinals, the semifinals. They were really fighting for those last-minute goals. They were fighting for every ball, and I think that in this finals, that is what the Spanish team was lacking.
Now, this sets us up for the World Cup. The upcoming World Cup is going to happen in Brazil 2027. Nick, do you think England is a favorite to win it, or do we have Brazil, that we'll be talking about in just a moment, has the edge to be the champion of this World Cup?
Yeah, so a lot can change in a very short period of time when it comes to this beautiful game. But I will say, if Brazil is playing any way that they're playing right now, it's going to be really hard for any squad to play, especially when we're talking about playing on their turf in their country as the host. So it's going to be really difficult. That's a long ways away, but I think it would be beautiful to see the Lionesses and Brazil in the finals. That's kind of what I can just imagine right now. And so it's going to be an amazing match no matter what. Who's going to take it home is going to be difficult, but Brazil is absolutely on fire right now.
And speaking of Brazil, that is a great cue, a great transfer, a great through ball to the Copa America Femenina. Camila, we are in the final, and not that I want to toot my horn, but Brazil is in the final. Malta scored as predicted. Who will win this final?
I have to give it to Brazil. I mean, it has been so exciting and just fun to watch this Brazilian team play. I think they play with such flair, with such saison. I mean, they are just a ball of energy, but I do not want to leave Colombia behind because they have also had an excellent tournament, defeating Argentina, but I don't think it's been such dominating results when you compare the 5-1 win that Brazil had in the semifinals.
Now, another reminder, this tournament is important in the women's game because it grants spots for very important tournaments. The two in the final, Colombia and Brazil, they qualify for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. This is a big deal, Nick. What are we expecting in the future for these teams?
That's a very good question. So the Olympics historically have another power that other tournaments like the World Cup, like UEFA, don't have. And this goes for men and women, no matter what. The Olympics brings a whole nother set of prestige, and that then has this trickle down for other tournaments like these because you're looking ahead to the Olympics, right? So I think that what the Olympics does is just supercharge all these tournaments with this extra sense of importance and pressure and something to look forward to. So no matter what, it's going to be amazing, and it uplifts and it just excites and it just brings this extra flair, this extra magic to all these tournaments.
Exciting time for women's soccer. A lot is happening. And before we move on to talk about the return to play here in NWSL, I want to hear predictions. Colombia or Brazil, Nick?
I have this weird feeling that Colombia is just going to sneak by as the underdogs and win it 2-1.
I mean, like I said, I think that Brazil just has it in the bag. I think it's going to be not so much a dominating performance because Colombia is still an extremely strong team. I'm going to go 3-2, Brazil.
Excellent prediction. Myself, I'm a big Martha fan, so I say that Martha is going to score twice because she is the type of player that shows up for the big games. 2-0 Brazil. And now let's talk about NWSL. We're about to come back to the tournament next week after this long break for all the summer international window. Are we expecting some surprises? Do you think ACFC is going to sneak in through the playoffs, or is this only for Orlando and Kansas City to win?
I mean, listen, this next week will be the deciding factor because, actually, fun fact, ACFC is playing Orlando August 21st. I think this will be the do or die moment for ACFC. If they are able to somehow steal those 3 points away from ACFC, I think they have a shot for the playoffs, or at least I hope they do.
I think it's very important for this franchise to finally start playing some competitive soccer. They have grown incredibly in every aspect of the field. They are probably the most valuable franchise in the tournament, but in the field, the product is not quite there. For me, I think this tournament is for Orlando. Marta will come back very motivated from winning Copa America and will take that team to a second championship in a row. I think it's exciting because the next World Cup after the Brazil one is here in the US in 2031 with a whole new generation of players and fans that will be lining up to support the US national team. Guys, I think it's all the time that we have right now, but it's time for us to go on a break. You're watching LatiNation Football Club, and we'll be back right after this break.
they lay over and die at the hands of the Minnesota Lynx, who beat them 109-78. The defense is a mess. The offense is a mess. The Vegas Aces, who I was so sold on, JY, bouncing back and being one of the absolute best teams in this league, are average at best.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirate team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
One big problem for NBC, too many on-air cooks for the coverage, particularly on the weekends. Having 4 on-air teams separate time, divide the time, was really outrageous. You had Mike Tirico and his partner. You had Dan Hicks, NBC Sports' lead golf commentator, and his partner. You had Steve Sands from Golf Channel and his partner. And you had Terry Gann, who, by the way, if you don't know, is going to become an NBA play-by-play voice.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Just more and more smoke, leading to the fire that is Keegan Bradley being on this team as a player.
Yeah, I think we're all expecting it at this point. And, Keegan, he knows he can't play poorly in the playoffs. Like, he knows he needs to keep momentum going. And if he continues to play well, he's going to be on this team.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club. I'm your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and it is time to look ahead because the European season is about to begin. That's right, we have Champions League, we have the major European tournaments coming back in action in August, and that's why I'm here with my good friend, Nik Z, our in-house expert of all things European soccer. My friend, I know that you're about to go to Europe on a tour. Tell me a little bit of how you're going to be following these tournaments closely.
Okay, first of all, so much to cover, so much exciting European football ahead. Like you said, we're kicking off UEFA in September, so I'm going to be in Europe covering that for you guys as well. But we're going to be keeping a close eye on Serie A, La Liga, and of course, personally, one that I'm most excited about, the Premier League. So many amazing teams. Chelsea, the world champions. We got, Liverpool, the current champions of the actual league itself. And so many exciting transfers happening right now. Is that right, Alex?
I mean, that's right, Nick. We have been seeing the biggest transfers being confirmed this 2025 summer transfer window. And across all of the top leagues, I mean, we talk about starting with the Prem. This league has been having the highest grossing summer's transfers of all of the leagues we can think of. Starting off with Arsenal signing Victor Gyökeres. I mean, taking on the number 14 from Thierry Henry and starting a new legacy, some might say. Not the same legacy as one might say from Alexis Sanchez back in 2017, but, one can dream. Then we go on to Liverpool, who have been signing players left and right, starting with Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Hugo Ekitike. And then they signed 17-year-old Will Wright. I mean, these Reds are not playing around. And now we are going over to Spain, the home of El Clásico, to talk about one of my favorite signings this summer, Rashford to Barcelona. This is going to be a big change in their attack, and they're going to have some competition against Atleti, who have signed David Hanko from Feyenoord to strengthen up their defense that, they always have had a very good back line, but now this is going to strengthen it up a little bit more. But, Barcelona is not quite done just yet. They have also landed young winger Rooney Bargil, tying him down till 2029. I mean, this is a big signing, hoping for the future. I mean, what do you guys think? This is going to strengthen their wingers a little bit more, or what?
100%.
As long as they can register them. And Alex, now talk to me about the Serie A. What's happening over there?
I mean, Los Italianos have been blessed this transfer window. We have the famous Kevin De Bruyne going from Manchester City over to Napoli, staying with the light blue jersey. And it fits him well, let's just say. So we'll see if they can go keep that champion energy in this league. And not only that, but the league has also been blessed with AC Milan new transfer Luka Modric, one of the most decorated players from Real Madrid, the second best team in La Liga.
I think it's amazing to see these seasoned players, Modric, De Bruyne, coming into these squads. Napoli obviously hot from last season, but AC Milan, I'm really excited to see what Modric is going to bring to Milan.
And let's wrap it up, Alex. What's happening in Deutschland with the German league? I hear that there's some big movements over there.
I mean, one of the biggest movements we have seen. Bundesliga is about to get that Latin flair. Los Latinos are coming to Germany. I mean, the biggest signing for the biggest club in Germany, Luis Diaz, is now an official Bayern Munich player, signed through 2029. And after being with the Reds for 3.5 years, I mean, this is not an easy move for him. But then RB Leipzig is getting pacey winger Johan Bakayoko from PSV, and Leverkusen have added American midfielder Malik Tillman, also from PSV. So what are we thinking? Do we think that this American midfielder can make the difference in this league?
I'm always happy to see an American playing in the European leagues, albeit a top flight one like the Bundesliga. And I'm also happy to see some great players going to the league somewhere other than Bayern, maybe give Bayern a run for their money.
And to round up this market update, we're gonna go check out MLS, Alex. What's happening on the domestic league?
Rodrigo de Paul is going to Inter Miami. I can't say going. He is here, and he's already starting to play, and it's beautiful. He is now signed up as Messi's second bodyguard, so we will see some celos from Suarez for sure. And then we have legend Thomas Müller signing for the Vancouver Whitecaps for 2 years, ending his infamous career at Bayern, and this is just a sad one to say.
I think that Rodrigo de Paul is the type of signing that the MLS should prioritize. Players with a lot of experience that come from big teams like Atletico de Madrid, but that still have a lot in the tank. Now, unfortunately, that's all we have for today. We have to call it a game, but we want to thank you at home, the MVP of LatiNation Football Club, for choosing to spend this time with us. And don't worry, because next week we'll be back here con todo el fútbol que quieras. I'm your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and I'll see you next time.
Joaquin Neiman wins for the 5th time on the Live Golf Tour. And I don't know how many starts they've had. Is it 9 at this point, probably, maybe 10? So he's won half the time virtually.
He has, and this is again a stat. Sean Lowry's our guy who sends me live stats every week.
I love that you get live stats every week
it's so good.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Sadiq Bey coming off the bench. Alvarado missed a lot of time. Jordan Hawkins has had his moments. So, and remember, they picked out even a guy like Kevon Looney off the bench. So, to me, they could be there. You know what? And it's crazy because last year I was so big on them, and now I'm off of them. But I'm going to say it. Fly Pelican! 7-1. Fly Pelican. Fly Pelican fly. 7-1. What's the...
Here's why JY is great, because sometimes I almost, it's tough when I sell JY, because now what will happen is, right? I mean, listen, it's the middle of the summer. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen in 2 months from now, JY's going to go, now listen, me and K-Dub love these Pelicans. I'm like, when did I say that? Whoa, I don't remember that one, JY.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I drafted Aaron Jones in my Dynasty League, but he's like my 4th running back, to let you know that people don't really believe in him. And by the way, when you play in a Dynasty League, I always play to win this year. I don't worry about next year. I want to win now. Flags fly forever. I'll worry about next year. So, but I got Aaron Jones last year, 11.38. So he's going to drop that down by almost 50%, not to get this total here. Yeah, I think he gets. I'll take the over.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only